Are you a real estate agent and you're looking to increase your profit per deal or maybe help out some of the buyers or sellers that normally you can't help? Well, I'm here to help you. My name is Jason Pinkerton with GTG Home Solutions, and I have a few different ways that I may be able to help you help your clients, whether it's sellers or buyers. So at GTG Home Solutions, we focus on creative real estate solutions. Well, what does that mean? One, we focus on the deals that most people aren't going after. So that could be houses that have little or even no equity, in which it may be hard for you to be able to help them, as well as buyers who are having a hard time qualifying to get a home loan, still be able to get a home. So I'll focus on the first, which is sellers agents, especially with their sellers that have little or no equity or are trying to maximize their payout. Maybe they've lived in it for about 10 years and they just don't want to give away all of that into commission, and you know that they're going to be struggling a little bit to maybe pay you on that commission. We're able to help you out without you having to put in a ton of work. So for the sellers agents out there, what you can do is if you bring the deal to us, you still market it just the way you always do. All right, so we're not taking anything out of your pocket, but if you allow us to also market it for you through our lease to sell or lease to own program, we're able to a lot of times bring a buyer to the table. And especially if you're a seller's agent and you don't have a buyer's agent, then you get to close on both sides. So with that, what a lot of times we do is we'll market it to tenant buyers, which is 80% of the population out there that wants to buy a home but can't qualify today. So we get them pre-qualified and bring them in, and either we will lease option it to them, or sometimes we'll work with an organization like Home Partners of America, in which they will buy the house and it will appear no different to you, and we're bringing you the buyer. All right, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But for the sellers, how we're able to do this is if you have a listing that's either been on the market for a while, or they just don't have a strong equity position, or maybe it's just there's a lot of new builds in the area, or for whatever reason, you know it's not going to sell quick or it hasn't sold quick, we're able to provide a solution to that seller. Now, that may mean actually selling it to us, or it may mean we do what's called a sandwich lease option, which is where we lease it from the seller with the option to buy it at a certain price, usually around their asking price. Sometimes we can meet it right at the asking price. Sometimes we got to go a little bit below. It just kind of depends. Each situation is different. And then we're lease optioning it to a tenant buyer. All right. So in that case, we're basically taking over management of the property and making sure everything goes smoothly. You basically don't have to do anything with those types of deals. And those usually work better for you if you haven't already put in a whole bunch of work, because then we just kind of take it, give you a referral fee, and take over everything. Or sometimes what sellers also like to do is like, well, I don't know if I want you to completely manage the property. Maybe they want to do it a little bit more themselves. We can actually structure the deal for them, in which we will find a tenant buyer, someone who's ready to buy but needs a little bit of work on their credit, and we'll put them with our mortgage broker who will fix up their credit while they get ready to buy. If they want to, they don't want us to take it over, then we can basically put the deal together and assign the contract right back to them so that this deal becomes theirs. And they don't pay any money out of that. Basically, we collect the fee from the tenant buyer, and it's just taken off the HUD when they go to close. And if this doesn't make sense, it's fine. We can talk a little bit more. I can get in more of the details, if you want to do a phone consultation. For the buyer's agents out there, or just agents who are just kind of like, hey man, I'm just kind of getting started, or I haven't really built up a great system, we are actually inundated with tenant buyers. Like I said, it's 80% of the home buying population out there that wants to buy a home but can't qualify. As you know, after the fallout of 2008, 2009, mortgage laws became extremely strict, and even very well qualified people can still have things that happen. And if you've been an agent for a while, you probably have had where there's been some qualification problems that fall through at the last minute. And so you get your sellers' hopes up, or they get their hopes up thinking that it's going to close, and then at the 13th hour or the 11th hour, it falls through. So I'm sure you've seen that before, and if you haven't, well, you will. But with our tenant buyers, there's not a whole bunch of that crap that kind of happens, because we already pre-qualify them and say, like, all right, they're ready to go, and they don't have to qualify for a mortgage today. They have the money to put down, but they just can't qualify today. So they go ahead, they move in, The seller is released from the mortgage burden because we go ahead and we take it over. We might even be able to pay a little bit more than their mortgage. Like I said, each situation is a little bit different. And so that burden is taken off them. Now, if they're looking to go buy another house, their debt to income ratio is balanced. So a lot of times they still can. Maybe not FHA, it just kind of depends. If it's VA, that can be another issue. If it's a veteran and they're trying to buy another VA home loan, there's some stuff we got to work out there. But either way, we're going to always try to make sure that we look at each seller, buyer, whatever, their situation independently and try to help them out as best as possible. So we kind of have a wide array of things that could help. So basically, if you're a seller's agent, we're able to help your seller maximize their equity, maximize their payout. If you're a buyer's agent or you just want more buyers, we have plenty that we can provide to you to where you can go shop them. So what do I mean about go shop them? So if you're familiar with Home Partners of America, they're a multi-billion dollar hedge fund that goes and buys nice homes in nice neighborhoods, usually based off of school districts, better school districts that are going to appreciate very well. It's kind of a guarantee that house is going to appreciate, even as we shift towards more of a buyer's market. So they do that because they got the billions of dollars behind them to be able to back it up. But what a lot of times they don't have is a lot of people that can get pre-qualified and buy the home. So we get a lot of those. Most of the people that come to us have a little bit of money they can put down that would work out for Home Partners, and they meet the credit qualifications, the other criteria, but they just don't really have a realtor to go shop around, or they don't know about this. So we can bring that to you. We can bring you a tenant buyer who's ready to fit right into Home Partners of America program, and we've already pre-qualified them, so you just got to go shop them probably a few homes, way less than retail buyers. If you've been a buyer's agent for a while, you know how retail buyers can be, where they can be extremely picky because they have the money, they have the credit, they can be picky. But again, that's about 20% of the people that want to buy homes. So we cater more to the masses, and we're going to screen those people out for you. We're going to market for them. We're going to get them for you. We're going to pre-qualify them. So when we hand them over to you, in whatever area you work, you're not having to drive all over town. You're driving around to an area already pre-approved by Home Partners, and way less shopping to do. Home Partners buys the home, so you don't have to worry about the whole credit qualification things. They say, yep, they buy it. You get paid your commission. Now, if you have a listing that you can do through Home Partners, like it qualifies for that, and you don't have a buyer's agent, I'm not a licensed realtor, so you get to fill in both the seller and buyer's agent, and so our referral fee comes out of that. So we don't get paid until you get paid. So if I'm able to bring you a buyer constantly, that's much easier to deal with than a retail buyer, and you're only paying me as a marketing fee every single time that you get paid. Does that sound like a good deal? All right, so that hopefully is a yes, but sometimes realtors will get hung up like, all right, well, how does this work? How do I write it off or whatever? Well, first, it doesn't go on the HUD-1 because this isn't a normal referral fee like you would do through a realtor, because we're not licensed real estate agents, nor do we really want to be perfectly honest. And that's just because we found our niche that we love, and that's what we focus on. We love working with realtors because they're excellent at what they do, and we're excellent at what we do. So usually most will put it as a marketing fee, but truth be told, it doesn't really matter to me how you write it off with your brokerage or with your accountant. That's really up to you. So it's written off after the HUD. So basically, once you've collected your paycheck, then you would turn around and give us the marketing fee, which usually is about 25% of whatever your commission is. So if it's 3%, then 25% of that. If it's the 6%, because you're filling buyer and sellers, be 25% of that. So I'm sure you have some questions. Click on below some of the frequently asked questions. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to shoot me a message when you fill out the contact information. You can put in the notes section there any additional questions you have, and I'd be more than happy to email you or set up a phone consultation. So hopefully we can work together, and I can definitely provide you a lot more profit per deal with a lot less headaches, and I look forward to working with you soon. Thanks.